think that the businesses probably like the light there. But you know, this issue about being able to do a cost-benefit analysis of what kind of measures to put in place to ensure safety for pedestrians and people on their bicycles or whatever, I think is very important, because the issue you raise is that here, talk about the traffic count here. The traffic count here is probably, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I would guess it's easily twice what it is over in the area of North St. Paul, where the bypass is going in there. And yet here we have no bypass at all, and that's probably the place where it would be best suited.
Oh, yes.
And of course, you know, I certainly appreciate the fact that we need to look out for safety on for pedestrians and people on their bicycles, because I've known people who have been on a bicycle and who have been sideswiped by a car or had an accident like that, and you know, nothing really real serious came of it, thankfully. And certainly I know myself as a pedestrian once, the light was in my favor. I started to walk across the street and I got hit by a car, landed topsy-turvy between the street and the sidewalk. And certainly I understand that you don't ever want to have somebody go through that trauma.
Right.
You know, but safety, you know, there's a point where safety, you've spent so much, and what is the diminishing return of what it is that you're spending. And I think there's different types of methods of safety for different types of intersections based upon traffic count and other factors.
And I think before we leave the subject, we would take a look at, if we hadn't done the expansion on it, we would have been able to put it over the 5 lanes that we have right now, a bicycle path, or a cross path for all types of pedestrians at a much lower cost than we're looking at with this new expansion. But more importantly, when we're looking at the expansion for the new lanes that are being put in, we're talking 30 feet that's being taken away. And when we're talking about businesses...
yeah, from the businesses, yes.
Now, you were mentioning how the businesses are going to feel. Well, from what I could see from the drawings that we had on record, it looks like they're going to leave the walls up right over there by the Exxon and by what now is supposed to be a coffee house, a Caribou Coffee House. But that means that they're going to be taking all that land, which is going to be at least 30 feet, because of each lane is going to be a 10-foot lane. So that's an extra 30 feet they're going to be taking away from your Wendy's and Arby's. So the question is, are those businesses even going to want to stick around at that point? Are they going to get a settlement from the city because they've actually been robbed of their business?
Right. Well, that certainly is something I think that hopefully we'll be able to hear more information on as time goes on, because I think somebody's going to have to, certainly some elected body is going to someplace, either in Ramsey County or Maplewood, is going to have to pass some kind of resolution. But
you got to realize that in most cases litigation is created after the fact, because many times you have a disagreement on a perspective.
Or the value, yes.
That's where I'm talking about. That was what my perspective was all about, was the value. Because I'm looking at, I'm sure that the city was saying, oh, there's not going to be that much, it's not going to be that much of a diminishing loss to you if you are owning the Wendy's or the Arby's. But after the fact, when they are actually doing the calculating and realize how little parking they have, and how they're going to have to rearrange their whole system, they're going to realize that they have lost everything in this operation, and that's when they're going to come in with an actual physical value, and that's when we're going to be talking big dollars.
Right, yeah, because there very well could be less of a sit-down crowd, and they'll have to figure out how to either try to get more of a drive-through business in order to make up for the lack or the lessening of the sit-down crowd. Because if you don't have a place to park your car, you're not going to go inside and sit down. I mean, that's just the way it is.
This isn't like a person with his single house where he's fighting a government. This is a major corporation, and they've got the assets, and they also have the good lawyers I don't think we're really looking at this from the right perspective.
Now,
but that's
yeah, and now speaking about White Bear Avenue and lawyers and assessments, there currently is, I think, like 8 or 13, I don't know the exact number, but of the properties there of White Bear Avenue, there's somewhere between 8 to 13 property owners who are appealing their assessment, their street assessment that's being assessed against them as a result of the White Bear Avenue Improvement Project. And, you know, so we'll have to see and keep our eyes on that as that goes forward. Will the city decide to settle and come to the bargaining table with a reasonable number that more matches the increase in the market value of those properties, which is required under state law? Or will they indeed go to court and try to get what they're asking for, which obviously the property owners disagree with?
right, and I can also see the property owners, just like I was mentioning about with Arby's and Wendy's, taking a look at what they're seeing as their customer base, if it's been diminished because of now this is a much faster, much more reckless roadway, and they cannot get the same services. They may actually find themselves in a position where they're claiming to be harmed.
You know, that's an interesting idea, because you see there is a case, but it's probably from, I think, 1965 or 1958 or somewhere about there, and it's in the city, located in the city of Edina, this case is, and this is during the period of time when France Avenue was going to be improved, because originally at that time France Avenue was this roadway that was a dirt gravel type of roadway that used that oil base on it to keep the dirt and gravel from having dust and stuff, so it was oiled down, and that the two lanes with the oil down, one lane going each way, was about 22 feet wide, and then there was the dirt shoulders on either side that nobody drove on, but they parked on. Well, of course, then as a result of the road construction project and improvement project, France Avenue became this major transportation thoroughfare, which then went from being a oiled road 22 feet wide, went to 44 feet wide concrete. Now that's an improvement. And the thing is that the question is that did the market value of the properties along that roadway, France Avenue, did the market value improve when you compare the before the construction to after the construction period? And of course, the majority of the property owners, and this was also the city's contention at the time, is that the market value did increase because now that it was a major transportation thoroughfare, these properties actually had now a different kind of use that they could be put to. Rather than single family homes, they could be used for commercial or multi-family housing. But some of the individuals who felt that it didn't improve their market value said that part of the reason why it didn't improve the market value was exactly the reason you said, because now you've got a raceway in front of your area, and that, you know, why would you, want that and whatever. But keep in mind, those are single family homeowners that were arguing that. Right. Not in a commercial area, but you just reminded me of that case, because sometimes people do say improving the road actually doesn't improve their market value because of the detriments it brings to them as a user. Exactly. So it's kind of interesting. It's all in how you look at your property, and is there a willing buyer, is there a willing seller? I mean, that's really what market value is about. Most important thing here, I think, is that these are businessmen, and they have the savvy and knowledge to realize that all they have to do is pull out their figures from the last 10 years and see how many people are stopping by, and they can either show if there is a willingness to use those facilities now, or if there is less of a use of them because of all of a sudden you're being put in a position where people especially if they've changed the way an intersection works.
Right.
You know, I mean, this is actually an issue that came up with another road reconstruction project when they were looking to put in one of those medians in the middle,
Yep.
where there hadn't been one before. And that was actually one of the arguments of the business owner, is that when you put that median in the middle of the roadway there, it is going to impact my business because people are not going to be able to turn in from the other direction as they once were, because now you have blocked them from entering my property. And that was indeed one of their arguments,
Right.
because of the change of the roadway, changing the traffic pattern. Yep, good point. Good point.
So we will have to be following that more carefully as it goes along.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Now, I tried to go, I could have sworn there was a mayor's forum this morning, and I tried to go up, and I was up there around 9 o'clock, and I was told by one of the representatives up there that she didn't think there was. I went to the door where it's supposed to be, no sign up there telling me if there was a forum or not. I went to the front door, and I seen that the mayor's supposed to be having his usual meeting on Tuesday at the usual time for the council meeting. I believe that's incorrect. I've just been told that recently. But I understand you were at that meeting that wasn't supposed to exist today.
Well,
I
there you go.
apologize for not being there.
That's right. Well, first of all, to let our viewers out there know, today, the day we're taping this is October 2nd. And so, of course, Mr. Bradley, you're exactly correct, is that there was indeed a citizens forum. It used to be called the Mayor's Forum. It was held today at City Hall from 10 to noon, and it was in the Maplewood Room. But it's very interesting that, you know, you went there early to City Hall to ask somebody who was on staff there if it was occurring, and they said no.
That's right.
Well, it goes to show you, this is one of the issues that I think the citizens have been having with the Citizens Forum, formerly known as the Mayor's Forum, is that this past year, the council has taken it upon themselves to, first of all, change the location from time to time to time, so you never really know exactly where it's going to be held unless you really check the night before to make sure you know where it's going to be or what time, because last month it was held at 10:30 in the morning at the public library. Well, you know, in the past it's always been a very consistent pattern, always the same time, place, you know, so that way it's predictable, citizens can plan for it. And I did notice that, see, in the past the city always had these nice pre-made signs that were hot pink to be able to say, you know, point people to the right direction of where the Citizens Forum or the Mayor's Forum is. Well, you know what? They didn't have those signs up today. I think that they threw those signs away because of the last council meeting, where the council is starting to indicate that they want to toss the Citizens Forum in the dumpster. And so the signs that were out there today were handwritten.
Maybe that's why there's rumors that they want to call it the Bums Rush Forum. I'm not sure, but I think they've been calling us the bums for a while now.
So now we have, though, some film footage. Now, the last time we had our program, we showed you some film footage from the Citizens Forum that was held on September 11th. And of course, we didn't have a chance to really go into too much of it, but we have a little bit more film footage of that. But this is the meeting where the citizens who have been coming to the forum for the last few months, they've basically been given presentations by the city rather than given an opportunity to be able to voice their concerns one-on-one to the mayor, who of course is usually never in attendance. Instead, he delegates it to one of the council people, and he's basically been missing from the mayor's forum. And so, of course, at this forum of September 11th, citizens started to speak out and say, you know, the programs that you've been providing us are fine and dandy, but we're not getting our opportunity to speak, to communicate with our elected officials or with the mayor, and be able to have questions answered once a